going on, everybody? So once again, a couple more mock drafts featuring one of the top wide receivers and one of the top interior offensive linemen for the Chargers to get at 17. No trades up, no trades down. So let's get into it. So with that first mock draft today, round 1, pick 17, the Chargers are going to get Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, the wide receiver. Somehow he fell into their lap in this mock draft, so I had to take him right away. If not the best wide receiver, definitely top 2, top 3 in this class. Never a bad mistake to add speed like this at the wide receiver position, and he's a very talented pass catcher as well. So to get this guy in the first round can solidify your future wide receiver position, maybe number 1 position going into the future. So definitely like that. Round 3, we had another surprising guy that supposedly fell. Don't know why, but in this mock draft, we were able to get an offensive tackle in Rasheed Walker from Penn State. He's considered a guy to be picked in the top 2nd round, maybe middle 2nd round. So kind of surprised in this mock that he fell, but once again, had to take advantage of this mistake that this mock draft made and make it look a little bit better for you guys. And yes, definitely one of those better guys at that position to add in this draft to be able to help out that right side of the offensive line for Justin Herbert. Then, once again, somehow in round 4, a guy who probably is going to be picked late 2nd, early 3rd, mid 3rd, a defensive lineman, and Neil Farrell Jr. from LSU. He's considered one of the, definitely a top 5 interior defensive linemen. Once again, fell to the Chargers here in this mock. And once again, a very great value pick for them, especially in the 4th round, in my opinion. So definitely happy about that because that is a position of need for the Chargers. Then when it comes to round 5, they have them going with a cornerback, a guy I've picked before in these mocks, and Zion McCollum from Sam Houston State. I think before I mentioned he was like around 6'4". He is like 6'2", kind of like more of a Michael Davis body type, but he does have really good speed. Definitely one of the faster cornerbacks at the NFL Combine, so he could make up for that once he's playing and hopefully starting in the future for the Chargers or as a good backup right now. But to have size like that at the cornerback position and speed, it's very good, as I mentioned before. Then round 6, have them finally going with the linebacker out of Wisconsin and Jack Sanborn. Know he's been getting a lot more love recently, so he probably won't get picked this late. But once again, another value pick from the Big Ten. Get a linebacker like this. Wisconsin always produces pretty good linebackers, so to get him right here, it's pretty solid as well. Round 6, going with a defensive end I've liked a lot from Alabama, and Christopher Allen. Once again, he was available here. I obviously think he will be going higher, in my opinion, but as of right now, it's a good value pick. As I've mentioned, this whole entire draft this time around was very good value picks for them. Then round 7, getting into their first of the 4, got an offensive lineman from Ole Miss and Ben Brown. I believe he's kind of played more like the center position as well, but they list him as an interior offensive lineman, so he could play guard, hopefully. And even if he does back up Corey Linsley, it's still going to be a good option for them, in my opinion, to get a good guy who's talented like this, who could play multiple positions for you. The other round 7 pick, I finally went with the running back in Max Borghi from Washington State. He is like a poor man's Austin Eckler, I would say. He is. A lot of people try to compare him to Christian McCaffrey because he's a fast white running back, but it's obvious that he doesn't have that potential or star ability as McCaffrey, but he does do his job pretty well, even for his size. A pretty good 2nd string running back for the Chargers that I like really late in the 7th round. Our last 2 picks for this draft, going to go with the tight end from Virginia Tech and James Mitchell. Finally went with that position here in this draft. I haven't really heard much about him or seen much tape on him, but overall it is, from what I can tell, he looks like he's a pretty big dude for the tight end position. Virginia Tech is pretty good at throwing the ball and moving the offense around, so he could be a good pick. It's never a mistake to get a guy from a talented school or a school that has talent in the past, but yes, to go with a bigger name school guy is always a good thing in my opinion, instead of trying to reach for those second division or third division type of players, so especially late in the draft. Then their last pick is a wide receiver from Miami and Charleston Rambo. I believe he was with Georgia the year before, but transferred, played out there. He was kind of used more in the slot, almost like a more athletic tight end, but he did play on the outside quite a bit because of his size, and he looked pretty good doing it. That offense never really got going for some reason, but he did. He was a little bit of a bright spot for them when they were able to get him the ball. So that's how I believe this draft would go, with Garrett Wilson as the Chargers' first-round pick. It's not a horrible thing to get that top-heavy talent as we did in this mock draft, so definitely very happy about that. Now to get into the next mock draft for this video, yes, round one, I mentioned that they have him going for a pretty good interior offensive lineman, and he's one of the better guys out there. We probably could have traded down to get him, but I just decided to take him here instead of moving down. But in the real draft, they probably would move down. And I have him go with Texas A&M's interior offensive lineman, Kenyon Green. Everybody really likes him a lot. He's probably considered the best interior offensive lineman, maybe him or Zion Johnson from Boston College as well. Maybe I will select him in a mock draft. Johnson, so you never know, but Kenyon Green, yes, he's getting a lot more love lately as the top guy, and to get an interior talented guy like that on a rookie deal is a no-brainer, so very good pickup right here. Round three, I went with another favorite of mine, linebacker Chad Muma. You already know, as I mentioned before, he has great coverage skills, one of the better tacklers out there, especially in that Mountain West Conference, over 100+ tackles. And I kind of think, especially writing down these most recent mock drafts, that maybe next year I would kind of do it to where how I do fantasy football. I don't like picking the same players every single year, so maybe in these mock drafts, if I find guys I like for the Chargers in the first round, might limit it to how many mock drafts I do, and then every pick after that for every mock draft is going to be completely different. It could be the same position, but I have to go with a different player no matter like how good or how bad he is. So we'll see how that goes, but as of right now, I'm sticking with guys I like. So as I mentioned, Chad Muma. Then round four, going with a tight end in Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina. Very athletic, big dude. Obviously, Coastal Carolina has been playing a lot better these past couple years, especially their offense. So to pluck a guy from there would be pretty nice, and he is one of the better tight ends out there, at least top 5 to most people. Get him in round 4, it's even better. Round 5, I have him going with a cornerback in Tariq Castro-Fields from Penn State. I thought he might have been taken higher because I usually don't see him in this 5th round, but had to get him just to be able to make sure we get some depth at that cornerback position, because you never know what can happen. But also, I have not picked a cornerback yet in this draft, so I had to go with him. Round 6, went with an offensive tackle on Andrew Stuber from Michigan. Obviously, Michigan has been a lot better. They're being coached by a guy who really coaches the offensive line really hard in Harbaugh, so he has to be one of the better players, especially on the outside out there, even though he is being selected really late. I always see him this late in the 6th or 7th round, but he does have that coaching experience to be able to maybe hopefully put something together in the NFL. So that's what you're hoping for late in the draft with all these guys. For the next round 6 pick, went with another Michigan Wolverine, this time in running back Hassan Haskins. He was one of the better guys. Like, I remember him throughout the whole entire year. Probably could have been a finalist for the Doak Walker Award, but you know, his team was in the Final Four. He was probably the best running back on his team and one of the top 4 teams out there. But yeah, for some reason he's getting picked really late, 5th, 6th round in these mock drafts. Kind of interesting, but obviously it's a good value pick in my mind. So definitely had to go with him here in the 6th round. Starting in the round 7s, you have him going with a defensive end and Jeffrey Gunter, who is a guy I picked before, also from Coastal Carolina. Definitely a guy who's a project on the defensive end. You never know, just because of his size and speed, if he is going to be able to be productive in the NFL. That's all you can hope for. So we'll see about him. Another round 7, got to go with the wide receiver in Khalil Pimpleton. Obviously one of the better guys out there. I mentioned before, he had a 3 touchdown game, so that's how he became on my radar and was still a pretty good, consistent slot receiver out there. So definitely like him a lot. Round 7, I have him going for a defensive end at a UCF in, I think his nickname is Big Cat and last name Bryant. I believe it's Martavius Bryant, something like that. I believe he was from Auburn, so he does have a lot of talent to be able to go to an SEC school like that. And UCF puts out some pretty good guys as well, but he looks like a prototypical outside linebacker type of deal. Even though he's listed as a DN, I still kind of see him as a stand-up outside linebacker. So maybe you could try him out there, Chargers, see what you can do. Then round 7 to finish this off, have them going with an offensive tackle. I believe it was North Dakota State and Cordell Volson. It's a guy who he's been a part of a winning program up there in North Dakota State for a while, so he probably has some talent. Don't know if he was one of the better offensive linemen there the past couple years or not, but maybe we'll take a chance on him late in this draft, as that was our last pick of this mock draft. So yeah, starting off with Kenyon Green, ending off with another offensive lineman to help out. So yeah, we'll see how this goes, and should be very interesting. We're probably, week and a half about or so from the draft, so it should be very interesting. Not this Thursday coming up, but the following Thursday. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.